Here's something that will shake you. Emil Cioran, one of philosophy's darkest minds, believed that being born was humanity's first and greatest catastrophe. Not a tragedy that happens to us, but the tragedy that is us. He wrote that we spend our entire lives trying to recover from the shock of existence itself. Think about that for a moment. You didn't ask to be here. You were thrown into consciousness without consent, into a world that feels alien, among people you never chose, playing a game whose rules were written before you arrived. Cioran called this the trouble with being born, and if you've ever felt like you fundamentally don't belong anywhere, he might have understood you better than anyone else ever could. Let's get real for a second. How many times have you sat in a room full of people and felt completely alone? How often do you scroll through social media, seeing everyone else seemingly connected, thriving, belonging, while you feel like an outsider looking through glass? You go to work, you smile, you participate, but there's this persistent whisper inside. I don't fit here. I don't fit anywhere. You've tried everything. You've changed jobs, changed cities, changed friend groups, maybe even changed yourself, hoping that somewhere, somehow, you'll finally feel at home. But that feeling follows you like a shadow. It's not depression exactly. It's not social anxiety, though those might be symptoms. It's something deeper, more fundamental, a sense that your very existence is out of place in this world. You wonder what's wrong with you. Why can't you just be normal? Why can't you just belong like everyone else seems to? Here's what nobody tells you. This feeling isn't a flaw in your psychological makeup. It's not something therapy alone can fix, though therapy helps. According to Cioran, this sense of cosmic homelessness is actually a lucid recognition of the human condition itself. Most people are just better at lying to themselves about it. Emil Cioran was a Romanian French philosopher who lived from 1911 to 1995, and he spent his entire career excavating the uncomfortable truths that most thinkers prefer to bury. His most provocative work, The Trouble with Being Born, reads like a philosophical exorcism, purging every comfortable illusion about human existence. For Cioran, birth itself is the original violence. We're expelled from the perfect void of non-existence into the burden of consciousness, forced to carry the weight of being someone, of having to become something, of navigating meaning in a universe that offers none inherently. He wrote that we are accidents in an indifferent cosmos, and that recognition of this accident creates what he called the inconvenience of existence. But here's where Cioran becomes truly fascinating. He wasn't simply pessimistic, he was radically honest about what it means to be conscious. That feeling of not belonging, it's not your failure to adapt, it's your consciousness refusing to accept comforting fictions. Every society, every culture, every social group operates on shared delusions, what Nietzsche called necessary lies. These are the narratives we tell ourselves, that life has inherent meaning, that we're building towards something, that our existence matters in some cosmic sense, that we're all part of a community with shared values and purposes. When you feel like you don't belong, what's really happening is that your consciousness is rejecting these collective illusions. You're seeing through the theatre of daily life, recognizing its arbitrary nature, its constructed quality. Cioran argued that most people live in a state of blessed unconsciousness, protected by distraction, routine, and belief systems that prevent them from confronting existence directly. But some of us, whether through temperament or circumstance, can't maintain that protective unconsciousness. We're cursed with lucidity. And lucidity reveals that belonging is itself a construct, a psychological comfort we create because the alternative, accepting our fundamental solitude, is too terrifying for most people to bear. This is the double-edged sword of awareness. The more conscious you become, the more alienated you feel, because you're waking up inside a dream that everyone else is still dreaming. You see the strings, the stage, the artifice, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Cioran believed this was especially acute in modern life, where we've lost traditional anchors of meaning, religious frameworks, tight-knit communities, and clear life narratives, but haven't replaced them with anything substantive, only with consumption, performance, and the desperate pursuit of distraction. We're more connected than ever through technology, yet more atomized, more lonely, more unmoored. That feeling of not belonging isn't a personal failure. It's an honest response to a world that has lost its coherent story. So what do you do with this? How do you live when you've recognized the trouble with being born? Cioran offers no easy answers, but his philosophy points toward a way of existing that's honest without being debilitating. First, embrace your solitude as a form of freedom rather than a punishment. If you don't inherently belong anywhere, then you're also not bound by the expectations and limitations of any group. Your cosmic homelessness is also your cosmic freedom. You can move through life as an observer, a creator of your own meaning, unburdened by the need for external validation. This doesn't mean isolation. It means entering relationships and communities with open hands instead of desperate grasping. Second, practice what Cioran called living at the surface. Instead of constantly digging into existential depths, learn to appreciate the immediate, the sensory, the trivial. There's a paradoxical wisdom in not taking existence too seriously, precisely because it's so absurd. Enjoy coffee, notice sunlight, laugh at the cosmic joke. These small experiences don't need to mean anything to be valuable. Third, use your alienation as a tool for insight. Your outsider perspective allows you to see patterns, hypocrisies, and possibilities that insiders miss. This can fuel creativity, philosophy, art, or simply a more authentic way of moving through the world. Fourth, find your fellow aliens. You're not the only one who feels this way. Seek out others who've recognized the trouble with being born, not to form a club of pessimists, but to share the strange burden of lucidity with people who understand. Finally, accept that this feeling may never fully go away, and that's okay. The goal isn't to cure your sense of not belonging, but to transform your relationship with it. It can become a source of depth, creativity, and paradoxical freedom rather than just suffering. The trouble with being born is that we never asked for consciousness, but here we are, awake and aware in a universe that doesn't care. That feeling of not belonging isn't your weakness. It's your honesty breaking through comfortable lies. Cioran won't give you hope in the traditional sense, but he offers something perhaps more valuable. Permission to feel what you actually feel, to see what you actually see, and to live anyway, not despite the absurdity, but in full acknowledgement of it. So stop trying to fix yourself into fitting. You're not broken, you're awake. And that changes everything.